Lagos State, Nigeria's economic capital, on Thursday this week launched its Code Lagos training program aimed at creating a new generation of ICT professionals in computer programming. Now, this, the state government believes, will create employment and make the state a technology hub. Meanwhile, the International Telecommunications Union, the ITU, says Nigeria maintained its 137th spot on the World ICT Development Index for 2016. Joseph Sam, offering manager at IBM, joins us to discuss this. Joseph, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you on the show today. What do you make of what Lagos State is doing in terms of training as high as 1 million youth, they're called, in ICT, computer programming, having different coding centers across the state?
Esther, thank you. I think that is a step in the right direction. If we look at the future economy, it is going to be a digital economy, and it's important that the youthful population, right from an early age, have the right skills that would make them relevant in that economy. So it's important for people to learn how to code, because coding is all about problem solving, finding unique solutions to peculiar problems we experience. So by Lagos State launching this initiative, is going to equip the young generation with the necessary skills that would help them participate in that future economy.
Lagos State is following the example of India, where, I mean, what we hear now is that when people want to set up IT companies, they go to India for the expertise and the skill, but that if this can be done and more replicated, not just even within Lagos, across the country, that could take us, several steps ahead in terms of stopping that from happening and actually bringing more people here in terms of, building the ICT environment. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. So I think Lagos State is, just like India or any other country, is embarking on a journey. India started from somewhere, and then we see the progress they have made. So similarly, we have to start with that generation that have the drive, that have the creativity, and then build them up from one stage to the other. So looking at how the initiative is rolled out from at the primary school level to the secondary to the tertiary level. So at all levels, we are having a pipeline of skilled resources who would one day become that potent workforce that others could rely on, both internally in Nigeria and even externally. So it's a step in the right direction, following our own unique path.
Okay, now the government says it's also working or partnering with the private sector. What do you think the private sector can bring to the table in terms of complementary efforts?
Absolutely. Alone you can go fast, but together you can go far. So it's important for private organizations to work with the public sector. We already have players like IBM already having initiatives in the market, working with startups, working with developer ecosystems, imparting them with right knowledge, giving them access to technology such as cloud computing, cognitive computing, that is artificial intelligence, systems that can understand, reason, and learn in natural language. So these are complementary efforts, and working with the government, we can do this at a much higher scale, at a much higher speed, and achieve even greater results.
Now, in your experience, how would you describe the quality of innovation that you see? Because, I mean, Nigeria is a developing country. The kind of expertise or the kind of resources that will be available to a startup here in Nigeria compared to a place like Canada or the US, is quite different. And I know that can be quite frustrating for some of the youth here who are engaging in that. So, but how would you describe what you've seen so far?
Well, again, this is where the role of the private sector comes in, because looking at where technology is today, you can have people in Nigeria have access to the same kind of technology that developers or startups in other parts of the world do have. And this is where the likes of IBM can provide access to technology, the same kind of technology that's available, thanks to cloud computing.
Okay, so in terms of bottlenecks, it's not as we hear it is, because sometimes I hear that there's too many challenges because Nigeria is a developing country and all of that.
I would say that the gap is increasingly getting smaller, thanks to the initiatives that some of us are rolling out in the region. And now that the government is taking this on as a strategic initiative, it can only get better, if you'd ask me.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Joseph, for talking to us today. It's
My
been a
pleasure.
pleasure.
Thank
I've been
you very
talking
much,
to
Esther.
Joseph Sam, offering manager at IBM, looking at building skills here in Nigeria for the ICT sector of the future.